Hello there, my name's Dr. Peter Gatke. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs and Dean at Memphis Theological Seminary. And I want to address a question that I often hear from prospective students and others, which is Memphis Theological Seminary conservative or are we liberal? And what I like to say to folks is that we are neither. What we are is informed by the gospel of Jesus Christ. So we are neither the Democratic Party at prayer nor the Republican Party at prayer. We, in fact, hope that our students will be studying theology and preparing for ministry in such a way that they would be encouraging discussion and dialogue across the usual divisions of our culture, grounded in a vision of scholarship, piety, and justice that asks us to consider issues not as Republicans, not as Democrats or any other political affiliation, but from our central identity, which is that of being disciples of Jesus Christ. Now, we may land on one side or the other on certain issues, but what we're hoping is that wherever we might land on issues, we're doing it in a way that's theologically informed and deeply shaped by a life of prayer and worship, and in relationship to people who are vulnerable and hurting in our society. That's what Jesus was about. Jesus was deeply rooted in his own theological tradition of Judaism, or the Jewish faith, the people of Israel in the first century. He was not a zealot seeking a violent revolution against the Roman Empire. He was not a conservative in the sense of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were emphasizing the importance of being obedient to the law, nor was he a liberal in the sense of a person who had become very deeply shaped by the Greco-Roman culture. He was a Jew of the first century who was deeply shaped in particular by the prophet Isaiah, in fact. But really by the entirety of the Hebrew Scriptures, and certainly by his deep relationship as the Son of God with his Father, God the Creator, God the one who sent him, and God the one who raised him from the dead. So we are people of faith, we are people of conviction about that faith, that we believe strongly that this is a faith that should be informed by critical thinking, by using the God-given gifts that we have, which includes the ability to think critically, but also to approach issues from a life of faith that's deeply shaped by participation in the life of a faith community. And that, of course, involves us with prayer and worship, and considering the traditions that inform the life of Christianity. We learn from our ancestors in the faith. So we are committed to this kind of scholarship that asks the hard questions and is not afraid to think critically and to think openly about our own faith tradition. God is big enough to handle our questions. The piety part, of course, is that deep faith, that deep commitment to worship, that deep commitment to communities of faith, to the church. We hope that our education here reflects that. Also, within our mission statement is a commitment to justice. And justice is something that is central to the Bible. Well over 1,500 passages in the Bible refer to justice. But justice is not what the Democratic Party says or what the Republican Party says. Justice is about what God calls us to become in relationship with each other and with God's creation. God is particularly concerned with how people are faring who are on the margins, who are hurting, who are vulnerable, who need ministry, who need our care and concern, who need justice, who need the right relationship with God, with each other, and with God's creation. And that's what biblical justice is. So are we liberal or conservative? No. We're neither. I don't really even like those political terms. They place people into boxes. We're trying to unpack boxes. We're trying to help people think carefully and critically and faithfully about their beliefs, so that they can engage within the diversity and even the conflict that exists within our society in ways that will be helpful, that will help to bring in what Jesus talked about, which was the reign of God. So I hope that this has been a helpful way to think quickly about this liberal-conservative divide. Again, we're neither. We're trying to pursue scholarship, piety, and justice in a way to prepare ourselves for ministry in a way that will address people in their full dignity as human beings made in the image of God. So again, thank you for listening, and adios.